Hello, lovely people. Welcome to Ari Talks About Music. I'm Ari, and today it is time for a review of the new Model Actriz album Pirouette. Pirouette is the second album from the New York-based rock band Model Actriz, and I was put onto their music about a year and a half ago when I saw their debut album Dog's Body appear on multiple year-end lists at the end of 2023. And after listening to that album a few times, it's safe to say that I definitely heard how much potential this band had. And as much as I do love their debut album, it's definitely a league below what I thought they were capable of. And something that I absolutely love about this band is just their fantastic blend of industrial rock with noise rock and even a bit of dance punk and no wave in there as well. And on Pirouette, it's definitely quite a departure from the much more raw and industrial rock sound, going for a slightly more post-industrial feel, with the opening track Vespers establishing that sound very quickly, and it sounding just so mysterious and almost in a way unsettling. The almost slightly electronic leaning tendencies really help to give this amazing post-industrial sound, and as well as the absolutely haunting vocals, they really just create this amazing vibe on this song. Cinderella then delves a lot more into noise rock, with it feeling a lot like a late 80s or early 90s Sonic Youth album. And then this track feels even more unsettling than the last one, especially with how unpredictable everything is. And it really feels like that anything could just happen at any moment on this song, with there clearly being an imminent drastic sound change, but you just can't predict when it's going to come. But then eventually towards the end of the song, it does finally give you that amazing and very satisfying climax. And all of the tension that was built up throughout the rest of the song definitely helps to create that amazing atmosphere. And lyrically as well, there is so much going on this track, being a really great exploration and harsh criticism of gender roles, with frontman Cole Hayden talking about having wanted a Cinderella birthday party for his 5th birthday. Poppy has this very unique and very overpowering guitar sound that is what causes this song to evoke so much. And the vocals as well on this track gotta be one of my favourite things about it, showing so much diversity and so much range, especially with that incredible high note that he manages to hit right before the song reaches its climax. At which point pretty much every single element of the song is just playing at full power, just making it feel so amazing and explosive and really chaotic, but in the best way possible. Viva is then quite possibly the darkest song yet, having so much amazing industrial and mechanical sounds going on. And the structure on this track is so unique as well, which I think consistently is one of the best things about the whole album, which is just avoiding their very typical song structure and making all of the tracks so unpredictable but still absolutely incredible. And the various tone shifts and changes of pace make this track feel incredibly dynamic, but still always keeps that very dark mechanical and industrial theme going. Headlights is this absolutely beautiful spoken word interlude, which sees frontman Cole Hayden getting very personal about his experiences coming out and growing up as a queer child. And just with how slow and relaxed this track is, it definitely segues really well into the second half of the album, with the track Acid Rain, which really keeps the much slower pace going with the much more simple arrangement of instruments as well, which is definitely quite a departure from the intense industrial and mechanical sound of the rest of the album, which is of course a huge departure from the much more industrial and mechanical sounds of the rest of the album so far. I do love the much more straightforward guitar and vocals on this track, with how it's in the mix of this much more intense album just being this oasis of more peaceful music, but of course with there being such a prominent darkness in this track both lyrically and musically, but just without all of the manic intensity, which is such a nice change. And then of course the much more heartfelt songwriting on this track is definitely one of its most prominent aspects, and it really hits hard if you listen to it in the right headspace. Departures then has this absolutely amazing and very suspenseful intro, which is then moving back towards the much more mechanical and industrial sound. Once again, this track is incredibly unsettling, especially with the addition of these random banging sounds going on in the background, which do a great job at adding to that atmosphere. And the very mysterious vocals as well sound amazing, and despite this track not having any incredible explosive climaxes, the consistently haunting atmosphere still takes you on an incredible journey, and is still one of the most satisfying tracks on the album to listen to, I think. Audience is incredibly manic, and the guitar on this track is used in such a unique way, creating lots of noise and lots of weird sounds, and despite not being the primary instrument, still sounds so prominent, and it just works really well even though it's not the primary instrument, but just being layered with everything else going on, it still sounds amazing. Of course then the pacing of this track is absolutely on point, with again this incredibly unique and unpredictable structure. Ring Road is quite possibly the most energetic moment on the album, just being this very short and choppy and very quick burst of energy, and really just feels like it's releasing so much of the tension that was built on the previous tracks, only being a couple of minutes long but still giving you that immense satisfaction. Doves is probably the only track on this album that I'm not completely in love with, just with the vocals on this track, especially during the verse, not quite matching how it feels and sounding quite out of place. However, despite that, pretty much every other element of this song is still amazing. You still have that incredible pacing, that incredible incredible industrial instrumentation, and the various breaks just have this amazing atmosphere and really do still manage to build so much tension. And then finally, the closing track Baton is incredibly intimate and has these amazing, dreamy and ethereal soundscapes for the whole song. And even during its builds and progressions, it's still a huge departure from a much more mechanical album, and is just an amazing way to end it. And I think that what this track displays more than anything is the incredible versatility that this band has, which already has been on show for a lot of this album, but I think particularly on this track being one of the most heartfelt and beautiful moments without any signs of being that industrial. And I just love how the album ends on a much calmer note, which is something that a lot of the tracks throughout the album really do call towards. And so overall, I'm just so glad to see this incredible expansion of Model Actriz's sound, especially only on their second album, which is always a nerve-wracking release for any band. Having established a certain sound and a certain style on their first album, I think it was definitely a bold choice to change their sound so much, but one that absolutely paid off, with them having easily bested their already fantastic debut album, with them having changed and expanded their sound so much into areas that I never would have thought they would have done so well. And so for that reason, I'm going to give this album a 9 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching this review. Please be sure to listen to this album yourself and tell me your thoughts below. Please leave a like if you liked the video, and please leave a dislike if you didn't like the video, and remember to stay hydrated.